Hello, young people. I want to talk to you guys about finances and money. Now, you may be wondering, what? Really? During this crisis, you want to talk to us about money? Yes, and before you jump into conclusions, let me tell you that this is the second most talked topic in the Bible. Money and finances. 800 times you're gonna find it. Out of 39 parables, 11 talk about money. If it was important to the Bible, it was important to Jesus, I think it should be important to us as well. Especially when I read a statistic that said about 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. I want to share it to you, whatever I know, whatever little I know, because in a crisis like this one is where you're more willing to pay attention. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tips from Dave Ramsey from Financial Peace University, which, by the way, you can have 14 days of free trial right now. Let's get to it. So young people, this should be a topic that interests you. You should be studying it instead of spending tons of hours on Netflix, watching series and social media like right now. This should be a topic that you should be searching on. There's tons of videos on YouTube that you can find on investing, house market, how to save, how to get out of debt. All this stuff will help you, but I'm going to give you a little bit of the stuff that I've been learning. You should always be looking to learn something more and more. I just purchased this book before the whole coronavirus thing, and I've been finishing it. There's tons of information. Search. Soak yourself, especially soak yourself on stuff that the Bible shares, because the Bible talks about this topic a lot. You have to fight the urge to try to do everything in 18 months. The new house, the new spouse, the new car, all this trying to play catch up with your parents. It takes time to get there. Remember, after all, it's just stuff. So you see your friends getting a bigger house, a nicer car. Suddenly you're like, I would like to have a nicer car, a bigger house, when you don't need to. You also have to look into your past. Look at your parents, look at your grandparents, look at your uncles and aunts. See how it is that they've managed their money and try to learn from their mistakes. Because then you're gonna know that you have been raised a certain way. If they live from credit card to credit card to credit card, from paycheck to paycheck, then you're more likely to do so the same. Just like God changes the drunk, God changes and transforms those that have different sins, He can also transform your lifestyle on the way you live with your finances. All right, guys, I can't stress this tip enough. Fight off credit cards. You see, when I was 17, I remember receiving through the mail a whole bunch of credit cards with my name on it. Obviously, they were not real, but they were just saying, call this number, and it will activate right there and then. I was like, wow. It was crazy left and right because they all wanted my business. They know that once you are hooked with one credit card, you will stay with that one for the rest of your life, at least for most people. Many of us got on it as teenagers without knowing how bad it was to have a credit card in our power. There's something about spending with cash, paying with cash, another thing about just sliding a card. There's something that doesn't process in our brain of how much we're spending. Nevertheless, I get it. We're living in a world where cash is not popular. I'm not saying just go all with cash. What I'm just saying is fight off credit cards, avoid them. Maybe just use debit, especially if you're still living in debt. So now I'm gonna go over the baby steps that Dave Ramsey, Christian finance guy, talks about. And I think these baby steps will take you to be financially stable. Baby step number one, you need to get an emergency fund. At least save $1,000, put it in the bank, make sure that you save it, have it there in case of an emergency. Because if your car breaks down, if you can't pay for the water heater that broke down, or something that if you don't have that money there, you have to borrow from somewhere. And usually when you have to borrow money, there is a lot of interest involved. Baby step number 2, guys, pay all your debts using the snowball. What does that mean? Start with your little debts and then get into your bigger ones. You need those wins. You need to be able to feel it that you're winning. That credit card that has $200 in debt, pay it off. Then call the company and finish it. I remember with my wife, just getting married, she had $80,000 in debt. I had $10,000 in debt. It was overwhelming, but we were able to pay it off in 3 years. You need to have those small wins. We started with the little ones and then with the ones with more interest as we got our confidence and that we could do this. Baby step number 3, guys. Very simple. Have 3 to 6 months of your expenses save up. So let's say you use $3,000 a month in your rent, car payment, or whatever it is. Have 3 months in savings for that. So if it is $3,000, it will be $9,000.
$9,000.
The ideal will be to have 6 months. Through this recession and whatever is happening with coronavirus, some people are even saying, man, I wish I would have saved about a year. Baby step number 4, guys, invest in your retirement. Because once you retire, who is going to be there for you? So you have to plan ahead for your future. You see, when I started working, I didn't know none of the benefits of my job for my retirement. Just got in, I started to work, and that was it. A few years later, I found out that if you put a certain amount for your retirement, then your job would match that money to put that into your retirement. I was like, what? Find out what your job offers. And if they don't job for anything, find out a way to put and invest in your retirement. Baby step number 5, college funding for children. Obviously, you know it, universities are expensive, dorms are expensive. I make a difference with Dave Ramsey. We disagree on Christian education. I think it is crucial. 70% of Seventh-day Adventists find their spouse in college. Therefore, you should go to an Adventist school where you can find your future significant other. I think it is worth it investing, and like I shared with you guys, Anna came with an $80,000 debt, but I'll gladly pay it any day because she was worth it. My point is, start saving for your children so that they're not drown in debt in the future in order to pay their Christian education. Baby step number 6, pay your home mortgage. To the young people, you probably are like, Pastor, I don't even have a house. I don't own one. I'm renting. I'm living with a roommate, etc. Just learn this. In a recession, also prices drop, especially of houses. It is a good moment. It's a good time that if you wait patiently for the prices to drop, you will be able to have an opportunity to purchase a house. Always go with prayer and with the guidance of the Holy Spirit. But I will say this, something that I learned in 2008 when I got hit, when I was a student and the economy collapsed, I lost my job with the conference and I had to start looking everywhere for a job. I panicked. It was hard times for me. But if I would have known what I know today, my little savings that I had, I could have started investing. Now, this recession, I'm ready. I am prepared because once again, I knew that this will happen eventually. Talk to people that know about finances and always pick their brain. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And you're going to find out a lot of important information. I can't stress it enough. Invest in your house. Actually, the most solid place to invest, a lot of people will tell you, it's in a home. Baby step number 7, build wealth and give. Just right here, you don't have to have a wealth in order to give. I remember when we had a whole bunch of student loans and we were trying to pay it off, we were making a shortcut in one side, our offering. See, whenever the plate would come, we'd just put $1, $2, but it wasn't like we were giving a percentage or something. I remember my pastor came to me and talked to me about it and said, Paulo, I noticed you don't put offering. And I could have been offended, like, who are you to tell me what to give offering, blah, blah, blah. But I knew this pastor cared for me. He truly had invested in me multiple times. I remember going back, talking to Anna, I said, you know, pastor is right. We've been making a shortcut on this side. Why don't we try God and we're faithful on this side? We decided after we prayed that we were going to start with 5% giving God on our offering, besides our tithe. Crazy story is we saw our debt disappear. Our college debt that we had been stuck in one, I remember, it was like $35,000. We had been stuck there and it had the biggest interest, but it vanished. So fast that we had to sit down and pray together because truly it had been God helping us to pay off that part. So now that you're coming off the quarantine with a whole bunch of stuff that you purchased that were unnecessary through Amazon and eBay and I don't know what else, just want to tell you, learn from your mistakes. Look at the situation that you're in. If you're in the mud like I was, without a job in 2008, panicking because I have student loans to pay, then this is a time to reflect. Look inside, pray to God and say, Lord, guide me on every step. I want to be a good steward. And I want to say also to those people that have been saving and you've been faithful with God's money and you're still in a tight situation, just have faith. You know, I remember 3 years ago having to pay a whole bunch of medical bills, 5 different surgeries, a whole bunch of different co-pays because I was in a health crisis. It can happen. Just remember, God is there with you. If you've done your due diligence, even if you didn't, He will still help you. He will still reach out to you and stretch out His hands. You're not alone. You're with a family. We're a Christian family. God bless you.